You know that feeling? You launch a highly capable system only to watch it gather digital dust? It is a specific operational gap that is currently derailing technology implementations across the board. Today, we are looking at exactly why AI adoption is not a training session and why treating it like one creates a massive operating design failure.
The training happened. The AI is still not being used. That is an adoption failure, not a training failure. We see this familiar pattern all the time. The system goes live, the vendor delivers the handover, your staff gets scheduled for a training session, and boom, adoption is declared a success. But then, weeks later, the AI is quietly avoided by almost everyone. If that sounds painfully familiar, you are definitely not alone.
According to McKinsey's 2025 Workplace AI Research, pretty much everyone is investing in AI right now. But only 1% of companies actually describe themselves as mature in their adoption. Just 1%. And their state of AI research backs this up, finding that less than a third of respondents actually follow most adoption and scaling practices for generative AI. So what is the biggest barrier here? It is not employer resistance, like you might assume. It is leadership failing to steer that adoption clearly.
The crucial thing to understand here is a fundamental difference. Training tells people what the AI can do. Adoption design changes how they actually work daily. See, training doesn't alter a workflow. It doesn't dictate what to do when the AI output looks wrong, or when weird edge cases pop up. When you add a tool but keep your operating model exactly the same, you don't have an HR issue. You have an operating design problem. And that operating design problem creates three very specific structural adoption failures. Failure 1, confusing training with adoption, basically treating a prerequisite as the final outcome. Failure 2, making zero changes to the workflow around the AI. That just creates friction and forces your staff to find manual workarounds. And failure 3, providing no escalation design for uncertainty. Seriously, ask yourself this operational question. What happens when the AI output looks wrong? If your staff encounter an output they aren't entirely sure about and they have no defined path for what to do next, their default response is simply not to use the AI. Using it means taking personal responsibility for an unmitigated risk, and no one wants to do that. That right there is an escalation design gap.
So if ticking the training checkbox isn't enough, what does good actually look like? Well, true adoption design starts long before launch. It requires role change, defining exactly what new decisions your staff actually own. It requires workflow change, redesigning the entire process around the AI, and it builds in manager support, a solid usage rhythm, and strict post-launch reviews to track usage data and escalation rates.
This brings us to how Omnisenti addresses this systemic gap. Omnisenti includes adoption design as a standard part of implementation, never just as an afterthought. Workflow changes are defined before launch, escalation paths for uncertainty are clearly mapped out from day one, and a strict post-launch review cadence is established. We are not just talking about tool configuration and handover here, it is total operating model design.
It all comes back to this core principle. Training teaches people what AI can do. Adoption design ensures they actually use it and know what to do when they are not sure. We really have to stop treating adoption as an engagement or communications problem. Giving someone tool familiarity is easy. Giving them the operational clarity to confidently use that tool, that is where true adoption is won.
Reply adoption if your AI system is live, but only a handful of people are actually using it properly. If your business is sitting in that gap right now, you need to ask yourself, did we redesign the workflow to include the AI, or did we just run the training and assume adoption would follow?